So Eric Norris from Minter and I'm a graduate resourcing advisor there. I've been at Minters for 4 years and in a number of different capacities there. At present, strategically leading the national grad team. I guess that role also managing the Sydney office as well in terms of our grad acquisition, talent acquisition. It's really about early identification of talent, early development, early attraction and retention. So there's a number of aspects to that role, and I guess in terms of topics today, would be keen to talk about, and from the questions that you guys have sent through, the challenges that grads are going to face going forward, and specifically the reasoning for those challenges, some of the things that are coming up to the legal industry and particularly technology and the disruption that that's causing. So I'm happy to be directed by your questions. I've got a bit of content that I can cover, but I want to make sure that it's as relevant as possible for your purposes. So,
well, why don't we start with that? What are the challenges that are facing both summer clerks and grads at the moment?
Yeah, sure. So I think the challenge to be work ready coming out of university is definitely one of them. And I'd say that's, and to echo some of the comments earlier, a shared responsibility. It's definitely on the universities to prepare them in a way that they're capable to adapt to the changes. Knowing and memorising knowledge isn't enough because of this. It's how you can leverage knowledge in the context of the business environment that you're in to be able to deliver a solution. And that's particularly what we're driving at the moment. Minter Ellison's focus on solution-driven approach. And I think that is probably the challenge from the university's end. From our end, the expectation is adaptability. So learning how to learn, and I think that reverse engineering the learning process rather than simply looking at memorising knowledge. It's about understanding or creating an environment so that you can empty the cup before you walk on stage and say, all right, I'm here, I've got the skills to develop and learn once I'm in the environment.
Are there any skills that graduates are lacking at the moment that you've observed?
I think I'll put it in context of the skills that we're really looking for. So there's probably 3 key areas. Business acumen is definitely one of them. Personal leadership is another, and I'll sort of drill down and define that a little bit better. And a solution and growth capability. So business acumen at the outset is curiosity from a grad level. It's a curiosity for industry, curiosity for business drivers. It's wanting to understand the commercial realities of their clients and making the effort to understand that. I also think that personal leadership is more the resilience capability, so responding and adapting to change. When strategic objectives move, what is your response? Is it, throw the toys out of the pram, or is it, move forward and see how best you can deal with that situation? Solution and growth capability, I think, is creativity and innovation. Innovation being difficult to define, but the profitable application of creativity. Profitable being a critical aspect of that. Design thinking, curiosity and awareness of different problem-solving methodologies. I think it's continually finding new ways to contribute to success, and the ability to execute and deliver. So providing advice is probably not the entire journey. You need to make sure you're getting in there and actually making sure that the solution is delivered and the outcomes are reached and the result is quantifiable.
Are you seeing a difference between the students from each law schools? Is there one in particular that you think is being better trained at the moment for the needs of a private practice as opposed to others?
Difficult. I think one element of that is the numbers coming out of different law schools and the direction that the law students that are graduating from those law schools are intending to go. So University of Sydney, University New South Wales and University of Technology Sydney probably have the largest cohorts in Sydney that are graduating each year. And of that, you probably see 70% of them are intending to pursue a career in commercial law, whereas University of Wollongong, for instance, may have a smaller cohort and 50-50 may be intending to pursue a career in commercial law. So it's different motives coming out of law school. It's also preparedness, not intellectually, but preparedness, I think, confidence-wise. They often come out of university, and we've seen this in our recent application and selection process, that some of the universities that aren't traditional sandstone universities, some of the candidates may be less confident in their own ability, and that's a concern, I think, because they are capable, and it's just that they haven't been exposed maybe to the business or the industry as much as some of the others.
So how do you hold on to them once you've trained them up to have that confidence, or you've trained them up to have those business skills or those leadership skills? How are you then going to hold on to them so that people like me don't come along and poach them?
Yeah, look,
Good point.
I don't think that's the challenge. I think, to be perfectly honest,
Well, you've just given me one now.
I'm absolutely happy to see our talent move outside of the organisation, because if we're giving them a positive experience and giving them the skills, then they'll be an advocate for our business outside of our organisation. What's the quote? What if we invest in our people and they leave? What if we don't and they stay?
Going back to this idea that there's a shared responsibility about preparing the students for employment. When I look at the sort of the three skill areas that you were talking about, if a university was looking to try and teach those things, so the business acumen, the personal leadership, solutions and growth, what would be your recommendation as to how they go about that? You know, is it do they put it in like a formal course? Is it something that should be in some sort of experiential learning? Is it an extracurricular activity? How would they teach that?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this before, actually, as I was walking over. I think that the product is still important. The client still needs the product. So you still need to have that technical knowledge. And we were talking earlier about the Priestley 11, which is inherent and it's required. It's now not just the product, it's the communication of the product. So to be able to teach students to communicate the product and to be able to have business acumen, personal leadership, resilience, capability to change, I think you could really try to drill down on what their goals are as candidates coming through university, and potentially streamline them into a course that is going to maybe, if they're intending to practice law in a top tier firm, maybe there's some additional courses that you could offer that are focused on business acumen, that are focused on resilience, that are focused on responding to the changing market. I think an awareness and a desire to grow and continually learn is what we're really looking for, because we can teach them the skills. 70% of their learning as soon as they come into our organisation will be based on the job. 20% will be in mentoring conversations and 10% in classroom learning. So automatically you're seeing candidates coming in that into an environment that will inherently teach them the skills. But if they're coming in without the capability to learn, then they're going to be behind the eight ball. So those candidates that we're seeing excel are those ones that are, I guess, really willing to roll up the sleeves and just throw themselves into it.
It's important to have a technology background as a a graduate joining Minters these days, or is that something that can also be learned on the job?
Technology is a language, just like any other language. I think that difficult to have, like we were talking about earlier, a crystal ball and say that every lawyer is going to need the ability to code going forward. It's like looking at the problem of, the transportation in London in 1800s. They were saying, where are we going to house all the horses? 10 years later, there's 10 million cars on the road. It's difficult to see what the challenge is going to be going forward, but I think that the language of technology, the language of coding, will be a key feature, and it's understanding how you can work with that technology and work with that language. So if you don't understand the absolute detail, then that's okay, but if you're not willing to work with it, then you're going to get left behind. Email came out and no one really understands the logistics behind it, but they can capably work with it. Blockchain comes out, you don't necessarily need to understand the technical aspects of it, but going forward, it's going to be overlaid, I'm sure, in the industry going forward. So,
where do PLT courses fit into a graduate's learning? How important are they, for example, to Minters and for graduates who join Minters?
Yeah, so we offer PLT as part of our graduate development program. It's about an 8-month process. As soon as they start, they sort of go through their induction week, and then that's sort of ticking the boxes to get admitted. There's a lot in that course that is definitely relevant, and I think that the providers have done a great job recently, especially our provider, the College of Law, have redeveloped their business skills component of their course, and we are yet to see, I think, that coming through because it's sort of the first phase of it in the last 6 months. We yet to see that and assess the results of it, but I think that they definitely have, at that juncture, moving from business, the sort of the School of Law to the business of law, they have an opportunity to develop lawyers in that sort of at that juncture, I think.
You've spoken a couple of times about resilience, so I wanted to ask you 2 questions, if I may. The statistics coming out at the moment about students in law schools is showing quite high levels of psychological unwellness. So my 2 questions are, if I may, firstly, are you seeing that with the kids that are coming out of law school at the moment? And secondly, what is Minters doing in that section with respect to psychological unwellness with their solicitors, not only their grad solicitors, but the whole gamut of people from juniors up to partners?
Yeah, sure. So definitely seeing it, absolutely. The statistics speak for themselves. It's impossible to ignore that the legal industry is a challenging environment. It's challenging coming from law school to the business of law and having to learn as quickly as you can. And I think that is to sort of, I guess, to break it down, there's definitely an issue there, and what we're doing to sort of combat that is we've got a life skills component to our graduate development program, work-life IQ. Basically, we go through everything from bullying right through to the most the other end of it, I suppose, depression and suicide. So there's a lot in that space that can be done, and we're putting our best foot forward there with our life skills program. I think that we're definitely seeing an issue, and the self-awareness of grads coming out of university is very high, but often you need to ask the question, is this the right environment for you to utilise your law degree? Of some people, often, law degree is a passport to a career in a number of different industries. You could do anything with it. It's a great degree, but sometimes, and I think that's where self-awareness comes in, top tier law may not be the right option for everyone.